Hello, everybody, and welcome in today. Thanks for joining in. As most of you already know, but for the ones who aren't familiar with me, my name is Jason Adams. I'm a silversmith, I'm a photographer, I collect and deal in antique jewelry. I also have vast knowledge of general line antiques, focused on decorative arts, focused on true antiques that are well over 100 years old. I've been a reseller for over 3 decades. I've been an eBay seller since 1999 and still am currently. Boy, oh boy, I've been in area antique malls. I've done area antique shows, both as a buyer and a seller. I go to flea markets literally at least 3 times a week when the weather's good. I used to go to storage unit auctions. I still buy from them, but I usually buy from dealers that buy the units and then I buy from them because I like to, shall I say, consolidate down my energy and focus. And I network extremely well with a lot of area dealers in Northeast Ohio and now in Columbus. I've actually branched out into Wheeling, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and also into Michigan and Indiana. So I've been very, very busy. I used to buy at Goodwill, Salvation Army, area thrift stores, the Village Discount Outlet, Abbey Ann's, yard sales, estate sales. I also conducted estate sales in the Northeast Ohio area for the last 16 and a half years. And I'm still currently doing sales, just not as much. I try to, again, kind of rein in the energy that I'm putting out and what directions I'm putting it out in. I'm hopeful to do some sort of online appraisals this year on YouTube as well. So Jeremy and I are trying to set up a virtual appraisal system through YouTube so I can start answering some of your questions because I don't have an email, because I don't have time to answer it. So why would I publish an email if I can't answer it? That would just be rude and disrespectful. I've been an antique dealer now for well over half my life. I used to sell on Ruby Lane as well. And I was and still am an auction advisor. So I retired from it in June and now I'm back at it again. So now I'm an auction advisor and what an amazing job. Well, I'll tell you that much. So I have 3 boxes. We're not here to talk about these 3 specifically, but I just wanted to show you some of the recent acquisitions. This is a beautiful diamond engagement ring. The center stone here is just at 1 carat, or I think it's like 99 points. That is a beautiful diamond ring, and then it's got the diamonds all the way down the shank and that tiny little diamond on the side there in solid 14 karat gold. This ring set has a big secret, and the secret is that these in fact are lab grown diamonds. And the reason why I bring this on is I have these 2 rings on and I wanted to do a comparison on those 2 rings, but there is a lab grown diamond ring. Yes, I will be bringing that on for sale. So let me set that out of the way with its paperwork. And again, I just wanted to welcome all of you in and thank you so much for getting me so many subscribers. I just, the outpouring of love has been fantastic. Oh, and if my heat kicks on in the house, I do live in Ohio, and someone had said in one of my videos in the comments, could you possibly not have the noise in the background? Oh yeah, let me freeze to death just for one person. It's like yeah, my heat's gonna come on because let's face it, it's it's a necessity. So for the one person that the heat fan noise in the background bothers, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, let me just get frostbite just for one person's sake. So anyways, this has been in one of my previous videos, and it is coming back for a close-up, but someone had asked, they said, can you show us the underneath portion of that mounting again? This is platinum and diamonds. It's Edwardian. Some people would say this is Art Deco, and most people would be wrong when they say that. This is transitional between Edwardian and Art Deco. So it is a transitional piece, meaning it's transitioning into Deco. That festoon garland and those kind of bent lines is much more Edwardian, and they used to call that diamond lace when the the way this is constructed looks like lace, looks like delicate lace. That's more Edwardian. Also, this kind of hand engraving down the shank system, that's a very strong indicator of the Edwardian time period. I would date this around 1918 into 1920, 1925. Okay, so we'll get into what the stone is, we'll get into all that goodness and those diamonds, but someone had said, please, I have to see that mounting again, and I said, okay, absolutely. Just this mounting alone is worth, thousands of dollars, because they're just not making things like this anymore. But what a sweet little surprise to have that ring on the finger, how beautiful it is, and then, to have that underneath portion. I've always looked at jewelry differently than other people, and I think that's quite refreshing to have something different in life. This one, this is in the original box, and this is English. It's marked 15 karat, so it's 15 karat gold. And this is an Art Nouveau / Edwardian. Again, transitioning from Art Nouveau into Edwardian. Circa dating on this one would be right around 1900. That is an absolute gorgeous piece of jade. Not dyed, not treated. And normally you light these up with a pen light. I don't have a pen light handy, but lots of natural wear across the surface of that cabochon jade. And then these collet or bezel set diamonds on either side. What a beautiful touch to have that kind of elongation across the hand, and that mounting is just truly magnificent, with those kind of raised and puffed out shoulders and that dramatic curled surface. Absolutely stunning. And that it had its awesome old box. And look at the push and pull of this kind of salmon bright orange and that really sunshine yellow velvet with that jade green stone. Absolutely incredible. And you know how I love these old boxes. I just love them very much. All right, so let's get into what we're here for today. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. So the 2 rings on my hand we'll talk about right after this. Someone had said to me, we love when you do your live feeds. So if you haven't seen the live feed on my live, you scroll over across YouTube, you see videos and then shorts and then lives and then community. I think that's the order in which it goes. There's a tab for live feeds. And if you click on that and scroll down, there's a live feed that was titled Jason Adams is Live. That's the way they normally start off, because it's when I'm live. And you scroll down and it says Gold Rush ! With like some other words on it. I don't remember it exactly. Should have looked it up, but I will try and cut and paste that into the description box of this video. But it was highly educational on a little bit of a deeper dive on the specifics of gold, the caratage, the purity, the way they alloy it, and also when gold is not marked and how to tell when gold is not marked. It's a great guide. I think it's about an hour and a half or an hour and 45-minute live. I probably said, highly inappropriate jokes, but it's very filled with information that I wanted to shove into this video, but it just didn't make sense to do like a lecture series on gold specifically. Gold is a great store of wealth, and I think it's very important now than ever before, because I think today gold was almost at $3,000 an ounce. And people have questioned me, am I surprised by that? The answer is no. Do I think it's going to go up? The answer is yes. What are my predictions for gold this year? I don't have any. I'm transparent about it. I don't have any. I just don't. There's other people who do that are really deep into the business. And when you only check the value of gold like once a week, like I do, it doesn't rule my life. And it most certainly doesn't touch the way I buy. I'm an emotional buyer. I am an investor. I'm a absolute lunatic reseller. So I just make sure that the things that I buy, I truly love. The things that I buy are well crafted. The things that I buy are distinctive and unusual. That's what I have focused on, and I'm still in business almost 30 years later. So I say to people, I just did it differently. I just paved my way differently. I didn't learn this from parents. I learned this from a very young age of experience in the business, hard work, great effort, lots of research. I lived in the library. When other children were supposed to be at school mixers and football games, I was the kid who said to my mom, I don't want to be around other kids. I want to go to the library and I want to learn. I want to pave my way. I want a brilliant life. I want a full life. Those kind of superficial things didn't matter to me. And to this day, do you know, I have a TV that's deeper than it is wide. I don't have a flat screen TV. I don't want a flat screen TV. I don't want to watch movies. I don't want to watch television. I want to live. I want to live fully. I haven't turned on my TV in 4.5 years. So, and it's, like I said, it's deeper than it is wide. It's like, it looks like a giant box. It has rabbit ears, by the way. And the rabbit ears broke when I was in college in 1995, and I put a poster tack in the center of them to hold them together. That's still my rabbit ears on my television, if that tells you anything. Because when people say, well, how have you constructed this information? How did you get to be smart and well-versed in business? Because I didn't watch television. I didn't have a time sucker. I didn't have Facebook to distract me from what I wanted to do. Anyways, what we're here for is to talk about the things that I recently found. And this is an indicolite tourmaline. If you do research on indicolite tourmaline, you will see other examples. This stone is very large. And what's amazing about this particular stone, it stays very turquoise teal. It stays very blue. So when you look at these, you want to say that that's a bluish green. You don't want to say it's a greenish blue. So you want the overtone to be a strong and powerful blue. If I held something green up next to this, you would understand that this is extremely blue. It's very blue. Now, is it the bluest indicolite tourmaline? No. They do come more blue than this, but you want the tone to be, to classify this as indicolite tourmaline, you want this to be the base of a blue color. You don't want it to read greenish blue. You want it to read bluish green. That's what this stone does, and it's been certified as an indicolite tourmaline. Very internally flawless and very large crystal. So the mother stone that they cut this from, look at the way that electric volts go through that center of the stone. You know that you have an incredibly well-faceted stone. So the color, the clarity, and the cut of this is all AAA grade. It's mounted in solid 18 karat gold with pave all over. Signed here by the designer, 18 karat gold there. And what's just fantastic about this is just the whole presentation. That's a museum grade stone, because you really can't get better than that. You can get darker blue than that, but then it gets clumsy and looks more blue topaz. It looks more blue zircon. This reads as a tourmaline all day long. That color is tourmaline. That color isn't blue topaz. It's, and like I said, the way that's faceted, it's just incredible. So I wanted to bring that back. I will bring that into a future video. Thanks for bearing with me. The 2 rings on my hand. Now, let me tell you something. I learned so much every day of my life. And people say, can you talk about mistakes you've made? I could do just as many videos on the mistakes I've made, but they are in my past. I still make current mistakes, which is a reminder with this. So I'm bringing on a current mistake to tell you, slow down when you're looking at jewelry. Slow down when you're doing things. Slow down when you're at the thrift store. Take your time. Don't go to an antique mall at 4 o'clock when they close at 5 o'clock. Don't do it. You'll make mistakes. You'll be rushed. You'll rush the workers. Mistakes happen when there's hastefulness in life, when you're not focused. So go to an antique mall at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Wake up, have your coffee, get your mind right, then go over to an antique mall and shop so you're not rushed, so you're not panic-stricken. When I have made my mistakes, it's when I've been rushed or panicked, when I haven't been able to focus. Or let's say I'm buying somewhere and my phone rings and I have a phone call for something else and I get diverted and then I go back to, buying. It can cause problems. Do yourself a favor. If you want to go somewhere with a friend, go somewhere with a friend, but don't go on a buying trip with them. If you go on a buying trip with them, at least try and focus. I'm just trying to say, stay focused. That's all. Now, and follow your intuition. That's another piece of advice to either young people beginning in the resale business or people who have been in for a long time. It's just sound advice. All right. I bought these out of the same estate, right? And this lady had really beautiful jewelry. It was a great collection. And with these two rings, they're both from the 80s. Late 80s. So the mountings say, hello, I'm from the late 80s, right? So we look at them, we compare them, we tip them side by side, and both appear to be cubic zirconia because neither says, hello, I'm a diamond. So I'd ask you right now, which one's a diamond? If either of them is a diamond, which one is the diamond? Do you know? Would you say which one is the diamond? So you're going to look and you're going to say, neither of them. So I thought in my mind that neither were diamonds because these are 80s and they're in 14 karat gold. And boy, they sure looked like CZs. So I didn't really think much of either one of them. I priced them both at $800. Had them out twice. Now, mind you, this is in a collection of over 90 gold rings, right? 90 gold rings. I was in a panic. I was in a hurry. I didn't slow down. I didn't take my time. So I put them both out. Neither one of them sold. I didn't care. I put them in my back stock. I was testing another estate for a consignment. And I always have to make sure I'm right with consignments. So I got out my black light and I was flashing my black light across the table of what I thought were rubies or pink sapphires. And I was, looking with my black light, seeing if I could see inclusions, seeing what ones lit up and which ones didn't. And long story short, the light caught this one. It did nothing. There was no reaction. And it caught this one, and there was a slight blue fluorescence. If any of you guessed this is the diamond, this is the CZ. All right. So this is the diamond right here, and this is the cubic zirconia. So this ring that I was selling for the whatever 600, 800, that was a good price because the weight of the gold was so heavy, and that design is absolutely beautiful for a synthetic ring. It really holds up with diamonds, by the way. It's fantastic. All right, so now I go back to this one, and I had to take this to a jeweler. The only way the jeweler could say that this was absolutely an out-of-the-earth diamond was there is a little octahedral crystal formation at the girdle of the stone. So when he saw the little, octahedral, the little formation of the, if I'm hopefully saying that right, that is on the side of the diamond, and that's the only way he could tell that that wasn't a CZ. So even a trained diamond, dealer and a trained gemologist from Cleveland even said, yeah, that's a diamond. And because he looked at it right away and he's like, not a diamond. And he kind of, he looked at it, goes, not a diamond, and he set it down, And I said, no, wait a minute. I did the same thing. I said, I made the same mistake. Can you look at it closer? So he looked at it closer and he goes, oh, I take it all back. It's a diamond. So there you go. So the $800 ring that I had out in this huge, gigantic gold mounting is now worth like around, because the size of the diamond, it's worth around $5,500 to $6,500. So I still make mistakes, all right? So even being in the business for a long time, you always ask, please bring on and tell us about your mistakes. So I just did. Now, I guess I'm running a little bit late, so we're just going to flick through this tray. And I say flick through it, it's probably going to take me forever. When people ask me what tools I bring when I go shopping, I bring this, and I bring this, and sometimes I bring my black light. So here is my loop. It's just not a fancy thing. I put it in my eye so my hands are free. I squint my cheek. It stays there. And I always just leave this fixed and I bring the items up to the loop. Oops, and there we go. So I bring the items up to the loop and then they come in focus. I don't move both things. I don't go like this. Leave this fixed in your eye and bring the item up till it comes in focus. Okay, so leave this loop in your eye and bring this up to the loop so it stays focused. Then you tip it back and forth to look for inclusions, and on the inside of the ring you look for the hallmarks. Okay, there we go. That's what I bring. I also bring my trusty carat gauge. So this is just a loose interpretation of carats. I've already brought that on before. Don't want to bore anybody. If you haven't seen this before, go to my past videos, please. And then the black light, just to see if, stones fluoresce. Okay, now we've got that out of the way. And I guess I'll start on this one corner. I don't think any of these have been seen. The reason why I bring these on is to show you what I look for in gold rings. I think almost all of these came from the same estate in this row. I'm only going to do 9. I had 18 laid out. I'm going to do 9 of them. This is solid 14 karat gold, about 1 carat of that waterfall diamonds. Cluster rings are sometimes a very difficult sell, even though they're gorgeous and beautiful and sparkle like crazy. Cluster rings are a very fad-like thing. They come in vogue, they go out of vogue. They come in vogue, they go out of vogue. Same thing with everything else. Turquoise, squash blossoms, costume, bakelite, rhinestones. They have this ebb and flow, ebb and flow. So when they go down, it's time to buy them. When they go up, it's time to sell them. So let's say rhinestones, buy them here, and then sell them here. It's all based on what is in vogue or popular. I never concern myself with the fads. Never. I never have. I never will. I don't care. I just had a coffee and pearl sale with Jeremy, and now everyone's saying, oh my gosh, you're so fashion forward. Oh my gosh, pearls are in vogue. I don't care that pearls are in vogue. I just got lucky that I caught the upswing. You know, I'm glad I sold here. Now, I don't want to sell down here. I want to buy down here. So waterfall rings, I bought this when they were wah, wah. Now, guess what? I need that as a sound effect. That is no want want now. If I set that out at a show, within the next probably couple of months, I would say it's not going to last long because those are gorgeous stones. 14 karat gold on that one. I paid for that one. I think I paid $300, $250 or $300, and I'll double. You know, I'll sell it for at a show. I'll probably put it out at like $685 and then negotiate from there. This is a blue zircon. This is solid 14 karat gold. Look at that kind of stepped lotus design with those little tiny diamonds. I don't buy on, what do I say? I don't buy because they're diamonds. I buy because the design of the ring. I think I've said that 12,000 times. But for people that haven't heard it before, I bought this based on design. That is a absolutely spectacular natural blue zircon in solid 14 karat gold. Absolutely love the presentation of this because that's very flush mount in that bezel. So look at how the bezel has taken the wear pattern. White gold is yellow underneath, so when you see that kind of yellow color, see how there's that yellow halo? That's because that's where the wear comes from, and it just wears the rhodium off. So white gold is in fact very pale yellow gold. You'll see it on the back of the bands. Again, that's a great way to buy at the thrift store because when they see that, they think the pieces are plated. I don't remember what I paid for it, and I have no clue what I'm going to sell it for. And that's not why we're here. We're here to look at design today. This got brought into me at the Stark County Antique Show. When I did an area antique show, it's always a great idea to let people know that you buy. So I have a very little sign in my booth on my one case because I don't believe in billboards. You know, I just don't. You know, for advertising sake, for dealers, I have a little sign that just says, when you see a billboard in a dealer's booth, you know they're desperate. At least I think so. So I had a little tiny thing that says, I buy any and all jewelry. That's all it says. It's very small, you know, very small sign. On the other side of the case, it says, I buy general line antiques, and then has a little list of what I love. Art, pottery, art, glass, lamps and lighting, and vintage clothing. Okay. I think I may have added buttons, antique buttons onto that because I love clothing buttons. Anyways, the lady saw the sign and she was getting set up and she goes, I have my aunt's ring with me. Would you be at all interested in taking a look? And I said, absolutely. So needless to say, I did buy it from her. These are all what I still consider today rubies, even though they lean a little pink. I don't consider them pink sapphire, even though they're now considered pink sapphires because they're in the same gemological family. I still call these rubies, even though they are, quote, pink sapphires. I would say on this one, because those are natural stones, they're not created. Those diamonds are very large in the center. Transitional cut. I loved the eye design, that elliptical Egyptian eye design and that kind of folded over 14 karat gold. I always say, look at the profile. Look how thick the metal is. You always want to see a thick shank, and then look how every stone has that little bridge underneath that holds all those stones so securely. That one, I would say retail would be around $1,500. You might see it out as high as $2,000, but that would be the top of the game on that one. in today's market. This is in the jadeite family. Is it jade? No, I said jadeite. I'll get into jade and jadeite in a video. I'm by no means an expert, but I do. So I was out of the camera there for a second. I was trying to clean out my box over here. This is diamonds and jadeite. It's in 18 karat. I think it's 18 karat white. Let me get my handy dandy loop over here and check this out so I'm not telling you wrong. I think this one is 18 karat. I see a very faint mark. Ooh, and there's a whole bunch of numbers on this other side. So when you see like a 4-digit code, this one says 397, and there may be one after that. When you start to see those codes on here of like random numbers, that's because this piece was a high-end designer and likely in a catalog. So it probably had a lot of information at some point, which has been lost to time. Not the best jadeite stone I've ever seen, and in fact, not a very good one, but I did love this mounting and the attention to those diamonds and the way those are set. Always check your prongs as well. Just make sure that you look for wear pattern, because to retip prongs, it's now $50 to $60 a piece for, basically for dealers. Might be slightly more for the public depending on where you live. So call your jeweler, and when I say retipping of prongs, like if that was worn down, they'd have to put a little touch of gold there, and then they'd have to like secure that prong. Anyways, fantastic design. That one's late 40s into the 50s. White gold, I would say resell on that one. If you had a ring like it, it'd be around $800. Maybe a little bit more, depending on where you live. I believe this is rubellite. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't tested the stone. This came in that big buy that this ring is now free. I don't think I'm going to sell it for now just because I want to commit this to my collection for a little while longer. But look at these diamonds. They're fancy shaped. They're princess cut, but a little wider. They're almost like a chubby kite shape. Very cool, elliptical. And then look at that center stone for rubellite. I believe it's rubellite. Not exactly sure, but once I test this, I'll bring it back on and tell you what I find out. But I know it's a natural stone. I know it's not synthetic. I know it's not created. And that has that almost raspberry garnet look to it. Almost. But I just love a cushion cut gemstone. That in gold is very heavy. I think that was like almost, I think that was like 14 grams of gold, or it was like 12 grams of gold. Very, very expensive mounting, custom made. The whole thing is custom design, almost in that engagement style of soldering the bands together and constructing that. Look how robust that is. Someone spent an awful lot of money on that. To have something custom made like that today, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, not out of the question, just to buy the center stone and to construct that. This one's 14 karat white gold, and this is a colorless zircon. This is not cubic zirconia. This is out of the ground genuine zircon. So it is a natural occurring gemstone. It does come in blue and raspberry pinkish color, a brownish color, a yellowish color, sometimes slightly greenish yellow. So zircon comes in a ton of different colors and normally heat treated to shift those colors. I have done a video on zircon specifically as a gemstone. So if you'd like to see my zircon video, please go over to my other videos, scroll down, and you'll see the blue zircon with like 3 kind of directional things pointing at a long bar brooch. I talk about zircon in great detail. This ring is from the 1950s, solid 14 karat white gold, and a gorgeous, beautiful, colorless zircon, natural stone, looks like a giant diamond. And sure enough, that one, you could get that one reasonably for around maybe $400 or $500. This one, I don't normally buy such diamond rings, but the quality of this one made me absolutely crazy. This one's solid 14 karat gold. Look how thick and robust. Always look at how heavy this is. Now, I said about the gold plating, so this one at one point was all white gold at the top, right? And so here's where it's rhodiumed on the inside, and then the white gold has worn off the prongs. So that has worn off the prongs, and now it's yellow again. So you would just re-rhodium this top portion and leave the shank yellow gold because people like that bi-colored design. White a metal around diamonds, they have to be very white diamonds or then they look yellow. So remember, when you see a diamond ring that's all yellow gold, I don't have one in my thing right now, but if you look at one that's all yellow, those diamonds will always they'll always put slightly more yellow diamonds in yellow gold because they don't look yellow. And then if you have white colored metal, you'd have to have really white colored stones. And that's no exception. Look how large these were. That's what got me. They're very closely color matched, and the condition and the clarity of these diamonds was fantastic. And very large stones in that. I thought that was spectacular. I don't know a value on that one because I'm not even thinking about values right now at this point in the video. And this is diamonds and sapphire. This was also now free to me. Solid 14 karat gold and really beautiful sapphires. I think I've brought this on before, but now this one, after I sold the majority of the collection, that one is now free and clear. So that is 100% profit. I'll be putting that out at a local show just because I do have a lady in mind for that one. And when I buy specific things like these rings, I always kind of have a customer in mind. And then sometimes there's not, like this one. I thought someone's going to contact me for a vintage wedding ring, but they'll want it slightly more modern. They'll want an old stone and then, slightly modern surround. And as soon as I saw this, I knew exactly what had happened. So the old band is from here to here. Okay, so that's like the old wedding ring that, so comparison contrast, here we go. So these are about the same age. This one might be slightly older. This one's like 50s. This one might be actually closer to, let me see if that's a European cut stone. If it has a larger culet, that's transitional cut between, that's a transition between European cut and modern cut. Okay, so we're not here to talk about the cut of the stone, but this is slightly older than this one. This is 50s. This one's probably more in the line of teens, late 1918 into 1925. Okay, maybe into the 30s, maybe. And they still continue that style into the 40s, but you can see by the wear pattern. Anyways, all right. So you can see that band wore out. So see where this band from here to here would have looked like this ring with not the surround. So unfortunately, what had happened over time was that band just wore out, and someone so courageously constructed this gorgeous wrap that then the shank was cut off, and then that was placed down in and soldered into a very thick and robust 14 karat gold band system. Really remarkable. So like I was saying is, I didn't buy this specifically with someone in mind, but when I go to the shows, people expect me to have vintage. I think the center stone on this one is 3/4 of a carat. So let's go to about 72 points there. So yeah, it's slightly bigger than 72. So I was right in my assumption. Oh, that's a 78. So yeah, it's about 3/4 of a carat. So see how you start to see a little error on this? I've used this before in my videos. So if you want to see me use this, you've got to go over. It could be 85 points because look, there's no air around the stone. Look at that. That could be 85 points in the center. All right, so that's an approximate of how to use this gauge. Then you lay it over these little stones and take a look at those. So I would say on that one, because of it being updated, if you were going to a jewelry store, you wouldn't find the quality of such a stone. And what a beautiful cut. These always perform in low lighting. I always block the lighting out and show people, can't do that with a contemporary cut diamond. That will outshine any contemporary diamond in low lighting. Look at that. It's just a different stone. It's like a totally different creature, That makes me happy. That's why I don't buy contemporary stones. They just lose it for me. This has charm and personality, millions of years old as the stone goes. That's why the lab-grown thing just still isn't, it's not working with me, to be honest. Not at my artist heart anyway. I understand it's safer, but we won't talk about that now. We'll get into that in another video. So there you go. This one, value, I'd probably put that out at around $1,800, and maybe I'd put it out at $2,400. and see where we go with it. So, but what's great about that is that incredible center stone. And that's just a roundabout for values. Sometimes I change my mind. When I'm pricing, I am an emotional being when it comes to the business. And that's why I think I'm still standing, 30 years later. A lot of people in the vintage jewelry business have come and gone. Stores open, stores close. They come in, they go out. It's all about passion. It's all about energy. It's all about love. And it's about your passion and what you want to do. And mine has just been different from everybody else's. I thank you so much for joining in. I want to wish you an amazing day today as I fidget at the end of the video because I don't know what to do with my hands sometimes. I love you so much because I do. Go forward with peace and kindness. Love you.